Kainé is one of the most interesting characters in the Nier series. However, it could require a second playthrough for some players to acknowledge this. Upon starting Route B of Replicant, players begin to read a fairly long story about Kainé's life when she was younger. The story goes over the discrimination she experienced by the people of her hometown, the Eri, specifically from one boy named Demo and his group of friends who would call her a freak and a monster. It might not be immediately noticeable for some people, but there are two meanings for this. The first and more known reason is because Kainé is possessed by a shade. The shade covers the left half of her body and is the reason why she covers her left arm and leg with bandages. But the other reason for this is because Kainé is intersex and was born with male genitalia. It's never directly mentioned throughout the game, however, Demo implies she isn't a girl, with the reader thinking he's implying her as a freak. But right before this, he tells her to show him something, referring to her genitalia. You have no idea how many times I've seen posts online of people asking if Kainé's a male or a woman because of this confusion. But it is completely true. In the drama CD, The Lost Verses and The Red Sky, an error occurred during her replicantization and caused her to be born with male genitalia. Her genes were mixed together with a man who was believed to have been her fiancé. In the story Witches Sabbath, a lone preacher visits the area with the goal to spread the word of peace to its citizens. But he later discovers the denizens do not fear the shades, but instead fear the shade-possessed woman. He is then told rumors about her, how she kills shades for fun, believing she will kill a human one day, consumes her victims, tempts men, and her touch alone causes pain worse than death. The preacher was never swayed and instead wanted to meet her and hopefully rescue her. Demo decided to take him to her home with the goal of showing him her horridness. But upon arrival of her home in the outskirts, the preacher finds a cottage covered in childlike drawings and is surrounded by flowers. During his confusion, the two of them are attacked by shades, Demo struck and the preacher scared for his life. They are then rescued by a foul-mouthed woman wearing lingerie and wrapped in bandages. The preacher comes to Demo's aid, who then walks away saying that the preacher should just leave and claiming her violence towards the shades is a sign of her monstrosity. Not bringing her attention to the two of them, Kaine keeps her back towards the preacher, who then offers to cover a wound on Kainé's thigh. He is then confused and unsure as to how she can be a monster if her reaction to his gentle touch is still overly feminine. She then goes over to the cottage and falls asleep, still not acknowledging the preacher, who decides to stay close to her as he is still intrigued by her. However, he wakes up to see that she is gone, following drops of blood and leading towards an obscuring mist. He follows the sound of her ragingly panting out, thinking her wound had gotten worse. The mist lightened and he saw that she was indeed possessed. Her left half was swelled with unfathomable darkness, seeming as if another creature of a separate form was within her. Her head was down and the preacher noticed that she was stroking an engorged male member that belongs to her. Their eyes met and she spoke her first words towards him. Kaine said that on nights after killing shades, she cannot help herself. The preacher was crying with fear, revolted from the sight of Kaine, hating everything about her, throwing up with his heart filled with hideous feelings. Once being someone who claimed to want peace for all, he then expressed extreme hatred, claiming not to be prejudiced, believing it was okay because he doesn't identify her as human.